Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm filming a different kind of video. I wanted to talk to you about a little bit about my travels this summer, not necessarily what I did, but how I was able to make this trip happen. This is my first time traveling since I was really young, and I'm doing it by myself, and it was like a pretty big trip for my first time. It's about 6 weeks and a few days, so I just wanted to tell you guys the things that I did to be able to make this happen. And this is actually my third time filming this video. The first two times were just, I don't know, things happened, and then I had an accident with my portable hard drive, so I lost like a bunch of files and I ugly cried for like 50 minutes. So I'm doing this for the third time and this is it. I'm gonna get it right this time. So yeah, let me just get into what I'm about to share with you. So I just wanted to start off a little bit by telling you guys what I was able to manifest. So this summer I have been traveling, well, I've been away for 6.5 weeks. So my first place was to New York City, and there I did a dance intensive, and I was there for a little bit over a week. And then I'm going into my 5th week now in Quebec City, and here I'm doing like a French language immersive experience. So I'm just gonna tell you like a little bit of a story about everything that I did to get to where I am now, and then you can kind of see how everything kind of like came together to happen for me. So this starts off back when I was in my 3rd year of university. My apologies for the crows, there's like a bunch of them in the area, so yeah. So in my 3rd year of university, I was coming back from a pretty bad injury that like left me being unable to dance as much as I wanted to for 2nd year. So it actually starts a little bit before. That summer prior, I spent a lot of time in the gym, just like, you know, getting stronger and trying to heal my injury, so I can come back into 3rd year being strong and like ready to go. So yeah, I came back 3rd year and it was going good. I didn't get into the course I wanted to, which was like an ensemble type of course. So that year I just decided that I would try and dance as much as possible, like in other classes, and also focus on my studies. So I was working at my call center job, and the nights that I work that job, I get home really late. And this year, 3rd year, I decided that I wanted to get to the studio really early and warm up and have enough time to warm up. So I would get to school at maybe at like 8 o'clock, and if I was working the evening before, I would get home at about like maybe 11ish, and then I'd have to do everything I need to do for the next day. And then like I was getting up at like maybe 5:45 at this time, or I was trying to, so I can get to school early. So the nights that I worked, I was really tired the next day. Like it was really hard sometimes, like just working like maybe like Thursday, Friday in a row, and then I think 2nd semester Monday and Friday or something like that. But it like, I was really tired, and especially to be getting up early and everything, and the first thing you do in the morning, dancing, it takes a lot out of you. It takes a lot of energy. And so yeah, so I started putting myself in this like morning routine and getting disciplined. Also at the same time, I was like watching a lot of videos like Infinite Waters. I was watching a lot of Ralph stuff and just like changing my mindset and learning how to be confident and disciplined and get motivated to do better and stuff like that. So I didn't know that this was happening at the time, but I was changing my mindset and I was becoming more disciplined. And around the same time, I discovered the whole like vegan diet or plant-based diet, and I started watching a lot of videos, and I was like, oh my gosh, I can actually do this. So around like maybe October of like 1st year, I was like doing all these different things that were new to me. I was on like a set schedule to wake up every morning and go to school. I was trying out veganism and it was going well. And then I was making school a priority, and so I think it was that first semester of 3rd year I got I got my first A+. I actually got 2 A+ that semester because of all the hard work I did. So it was really encouraging, and it was getting my GPA up and everything. And then yeah, around first semester, maybe around Christmas time, I would see these promo materials like posters and stuff for this choreographer. The choreographer whose dance intensive I went to, I would see her stuff posted around the halls of my school, so I like looked at her stuff online and I was like, wow, that's really cool. And she actually does a winter intensive in Toronto, and that year I wanted to go, but I didn't because I was really bad at budgeting my money. But then in May of that year, she actually came back and I went to take her class, and it was the most amazing class I've ever taken, and that was pretty much it. After that, I was hooked. And then yeah, so I jumped forward a little bit. Third year went great for me. I just kept staying on my grind, studying hard, working hard, making sure I was keeping my body fit and everything, and it went really well for me. So back to when I took class with this choreographer for the first time, she had like a bunch of her flyers and cards and stuff, so I took that, and one of them had a picture on it. It had her picture, and I put her picture up on my bulletin board in my room, and it's still there. So yeah, that was like the beginning of the relationship that I would establish with the choreographer. So back to, I guess, school. After third year, that summer, I decided to do I decided to do a bunch of courses in summer school. I took 3 courses throughout the summer: French, acting for non-majors, and psychology. And that was like a full-time or a full course load for the summer. And at the same time, I was still doing dance things outside of school. So I had the 3 courses, and I was working part-time at my call center job. And then that summer, I don't remember the exact order. I think I danced in a festival for this choreographer. She's really well known in Toronto, so that was a really good experience and good for my resume. So I did that, and then I also performed in the Toronto Fringe Festival, and that was like my first paid professional gig, and it was a really interesting experience. It wasn't one of the best, but it was still a good time. And then also I did another dance intensive, and then I got to perform company repertoire. And another thing that looked good on paper was also in a festival, so I got a little bit of exposure, and I was doing a lot of stuff. Like, because I was in school, like, I had tests and exams and assignments, and then I had, like, to perform. And I remember, like, around the Fringe Festival, I had, like, a bunch of exams. And it's funny because I think I had to call off work one time, like, to hang out with my mom, but none of my exams or performances ever conflicted. It was just like everything worked out perfectly, and it was a lot to do, but I was like, I'm not overwhelmed, I'm just gonna do it, and I did it. So it's like those events were meant to happen because it all just flowed so naturally, and I did it. And so that summer, I got all A's in my courses. I think I got an A+ somewhere, I don't quite remember, but they were all A's for sure. And I also did a lot of dance stuff. So that those A grades were just like, increasing my GPA. So yeah, I decided just to keep going with my whole vegan diet, plant-based diet, as well as like my discipline. Fourth year comes along. I got into ensemble for fourth year, finally. And yeah, I was just sticking with my thing. I was still working some nights a week, getting up early and everything, and it was harder this year just because I was at school later, like every day, and then sometimes we would have like tech rehearsals that went so late, so I would be leaving later sometimes than I did for work, but I still did the best that I could in terms of like my discipline and just doing what I need to do. And so the first semester of fourth year came. I got all A grades, so that was really good. And then first semester, fourth year, December comes along. Choreographer who I'm in love with, she came back to Toronto. She did her winter workshop thing, and then of course I had a great time. Afterwards, I followed up with her, and I just sent her a quick email saying like, oh hey, thanks for class, I loved it, had so much fun, and I learned a lot. I just want to let you know that I genuinely love your work, and I want to train with you. And I just sent this off just to like let her know that think she's great, and I wasn't expecting anything to happen in return. But then a few days later, she sent me an email back saying like, congratulations, you've been sent this invite to attend my intensive, blah, 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 because you're a disciplined, skilled, hardworking dancer, you can bypass the audition. And I was just like, what? Like, and this is for the intensive that's in New York City. So I was like, whoa. Like, I didn't send the email to, you know, to be invited to the intensive or anything. I didn't know it was gonna happen, and to be honest, I'm thinking maybe she would have invited me even if I didn't send the email. Who knows? But it was just like really good timing. And so for the dance intensive, it was in New York City, and it was a lot of money, and it was in US dollars too. And when I did the conversion, it was disgusting. It was absolutely disgusting. So yeah, it was about like 850 US dollars, and I didn't respond right away, but I already was like, okay, I know I'm going to this intensive. Like, I can't not go after I send that email to her. So she messaged me back in like February, and she's like, oh, just let you know I haven't received your confirmation. So I was like, yeah, you know what, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna, like, you know, I'm coming to the intensive. Thanks so much. And then a couple days after I made the confirmation with her that I was going to attend her intensive, I got an email from my school, and basically I got an award, a scholarship. This was after first semester, basically for all of my good grades that I accumulated from third year and onwards. So it's like all those things that I did added up to this one thing, and I got a scholarship for like $2,250, and I was like, whoa. And it's like, it was just crazy. And it's like, I got the notice that I was getting the award like almost immediately after I confirmed that I was going to the intensive. So it was like, this is the money that you need to pay for it. And at the time, I had already paid off my tuition for school because of my student loans. So I was like, well, why not use the money for the intensive? You know, for me, I am not the best at budgeting, so like I did use some of my own money to pay for like some things, and like some of the scholarship money to pay for other things, and I still have some of that money left over from my New York trip. But yeah, it was just like great too. And I just wanted to also bring up the fact that I put this the picture of the choreographer up on my wall, so it was like up there every day, saw it every day, and I like her stuff on social media all the time. So I think that had something to do with it too, getting the invite to go study and train with her briefly in New York City. So yeah, so I got the scholarship, and I was going to use that to pay for everything. And then just to go back a little bit, the summer before my fourth year, I said I was taking French, and I used to be really good at French in middle school. I did have to stop for a bit because at some point it just got like so confusing, and I started like forgetting everything I learned, so I was like, let me just stop. And then I started again that summer. I took the introductory French course, and like everything just started coming back to me, and I was like, wow, like I like refound my passion for French. And then my teacher told us about this program, and basically you get to go to any francophone part in Canada and study French there. So it's called the Explore program, and it's really cool. It's like they give you a bursary to go to another place and study the language there. So I applied for this program about let's just say like December of fourth year, I don't quite remember. And so I applied for it because I wanted to go for the summer session. And I did say to myself, if for some reason the French program conflicts with my dance intensive, I'm going to choose the dance intensive because I paid for that and it's what I wanted to do the most. So fast forward to March of that year, I got notice from like the Council of Education or whatever saying that I got one of the bursaries to study French, and it was actually happening the same time as my dance intensive, and I was so upset because I had to refuse the bursary, and I was like, no, I really wanted to do both of them, but I can't. So it was just really unfortunate. So but I made my decision, and then in June of this year, early June, I got an email from the Council of Education, whatever, again, saying, oh, you're getting this email because you either refused a bursary or you weren't active. We just want to let you know that there's still some places that have spots left. So I went through a list of like all the institutions that had spaces available. And then I found one, and that's where I am now at university. And basically the start date for that session was the date of my return flight to Ontario. So I was like, I'm doing it. So I emailed them right away saying that I wanted to like go to this session and whatever. And then I changed my flight from New York. So basically I went from New York to Quebec City, and I had to cut my New York trip a day short. But I was like, you know what? I'll be back one day and I get to go somewhere else. So this is amazing. And yeah, so I just sent off like all my documents and like my registration fee to like whoever I needed to send it to, and got confirmed that I was going to spend some time in Quebec for 5 weeks after New York, just learning a language. And for this program, the Explore program, you can stay in residence or you can stay with a host family, but for summer session where I am, it's all residence, and they give you money for food, and they gave us $650, which is a good chunk of money. It's done now. I think for me, I spent it early. Like I said, I'm bad at budgeting, and I kind of bought some things that I didn't necessarily need. But yeah, it's such a unique program that the fact that like all you have to do is get there and get back home, and then they pay for your accommodation, the courses, the books, and give you money for food. So that is like, I looked online, and I think that is like a completely unique program, and it's like, why wouldn't you take advantage of it? It is essentially free travel. So yeah, I think it's just because like I rediscovered my passion for French, and I was like, you know what, I want to learn this. And I had the desire to do both activities, to do both the intensive and the French experience, that maybe that part was just given as a gift to me by God or the universe or whatever. I had the desire, and it's like, you know what, you've worked really hard for this, and this is something that you really want to do, so here you go. I don't think that these two events happening were just a coincidence. I think that everything kind of fell in place like perfectly, and it's the habits and the actions and the behaviors that I started developing almost like a year and a half, 2 years before, that led me to be given these opportunities, and I'm really grateful for it, because right now I'm sitting in a beautiful garden in the residence. Probably can't see it, but there's like a little pond behind me in the bridge, and it's just really beautiful, and I get to film here, get to spend some time in a new city while learning, and just do my own thing while I'm here. And it's just really great. Like, this is my first time ever traveling, and it's like the biggest trip I've done so far, and it's just really great. Yeah, so just to do a little recap of everything that that happened. So I started developing the habits, actions, behaviors from like way before. I decided to get disciplined. I knew what I wanted. I wanted to be stronger. I wanted to get better grades in school, so I made that a focus and a priority, and I got the grades. This choreographer who I've been looking into, went to her class. I got the picture of her, put it up on my wall, still there, and I kept up with her. I kept following up. I kept going to her class, and I established that connection with her, and then she invited me to go to New York. I confirmed that I was going, got a scholarship from all that hard work I did prior with all those A grades, and I got that money to pay for the intensive and all other things related to it, my flight, my plane ticket, my accommodation, my food while I was in New York, and anything else that I needed to buy. French, rediscovered my passion. I followed up on this opportunity to go study French, and it's really easy to apply for that. And then I applied for the French program, and I even picked up a second job at a grocery store close to where I live, and that job helped me a lot to earn some extra money as well as get a few paychecks while I was away. So it's just like all these things happened for me, and they just fell into place, and I didn't necessarily like go step by step in like the whole law of attraction thing, but I definitely used some parts of it, the visualization, and just trusting the process and letting go. And it was just like, you know what, when these opportunities presented themselves, just being like, this is the right thing to do. I know it is. It's not just a coincidence. So yeah, that is my experience with my travels so far. I have one more week left here in Quebec City, and yeah, it's just been a really great experience. Next week I go back to my normal life. So yeah, that is it. If you want to know more about the Explore program, it's not just for Canadians. You do have to be a full-time student, but there might be some like exchange opportunities if you're from another country, because I've definitely met people from other countries here. So if you want, I can post some information about that. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, or leave a comment telling me about other things that you've been able to manifest, or other things that just fell into place perfectly in your life. Let me know if you want to see any other types of videos from me, because I'll definitely be willing to upload more. I just had like a little accident and I cried for like a long time. With my files being like lost. I hope they're not permanently lost, but I have to get my hard drive repaired. Also, follow me on Instagram. I will link my Instagram below in the description box. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. Have a great day. Bye!